Well, good afternoon. You're with the latest on headlines today. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Our top focus story in this bulletin. Well, after Tapas Pal's murderous rant comes another TMC MLA, Dipak Haldar's completely unnecessary, insensitive and downright crass comment on rape. He says rapes will continue till such time this earth exists and that Mamata alone cannot cure the world of this social malaise. My colleague Indrajit Kundu reporting on the story, joining us on the phone line. Indro, it is appalling. One after the other, Mamata's various ministers come out and say what they want, and they know ultimately their actions will be condoned. No, nothing will be done against them, and they can once again go ahead and say what they want as they please.
Well, we can only wait and hope that there would be some sort of action that is initiated against MPs and MLAs and leaders who are making such remarks as far as, such a vital issue about rape and, crime against women is concerned. As far as Dipak Haldar is concerned, the MLA from Diamond Harbour, so he clearly goes on to say that, as long as there is civilization or as long as the earth exists, rapes are going to continue. Now, he does say that it is not possible for a single leader, and he does mention Mamata Banerjee there, that she alone cannot cure because we feel that this is a social malaise. But perhaps in a way to, harp on the point that they are trying to drive home, they perhaps are also crossing the limits of, decency in public speech, because when they make such points, this is only going to send a wrong message, a wrong signal to the perpetrators of such crime, and that's the reason what we have seen, happening in Bengal. At this point in time, according to the NCRB data, crime against women, Bengal is right at the top of the list. So this is not going to help the cause. If at all they are trying to send in a message,
right,
this is a wrong message that is being sent on the ground.
Indro, can you... All right, Indra, we're going to just come right back to you. We're getting in reactions thick and fast. We have Mamata Sharma, former NCW chairperson, on the phone line with us. Ms. Sharma, what do you make of this latest comment coming in by one of the various leaders of Mamata Banerjee's party, this time saying that rapes will carry on and Mamata Banerjee alone cannot do anything?
देखिए, मैं कई टाइम से देख रही हूँ, बहुत लंबे वक्त से, कि टीएमसी के जो लीडर्स हैं वो आए दिन उल्टे सीधे रिमार्क्स देते हैं, और चीफ मिनिस्टर को चाहिए, बीइंग अ लेडी, उन्होंने कम से कम किसी भी आज तक किसी लीडर को कोई पनिशमेंट नहीं दिया, और इसीलिए उनके और ज्यादा एनकरेजमेंट मिल रहा है। वो इस तरह की बात कर रहे हैं कि ना रेप कभी रुका था, ना रुकेगा, और न रुका है। मैं सोचती हूँ कि बहुत ही गलत एक मेंटालिटी उनकी है, जिसको उन्हें ठीक करना चाहिए, लोगों में अवेयरनेस लानी चाहिए। और मेरा ये भी कहना है कि जो लीडर्स उनके इस तरह के रिमार्क्स कर रहे हैं, उनको कम से कम पनिश करें। बीच में तापस पाल का जो हुआ, उनको भी उन्होंने कुछ नहीं कहा, और उसका नतीजा ये रहा कि वो बात वहीं खत्म हो गई। मैं सोचती हूँ जब तक लीडर्स की मेंटालिटी चेंज नहीं होगी, तब तक ये विमेन डिग्निटी के लिए कुछ नहीं कर सकते। तो मिस बनर्जी को चाहिए कि वो कुछ ना कुछ करें और पनिशमेंट दें, ताकि इस तरह के रिमार्क्स खत्म हो। आए दिन महिलाओं के रेप हो रहे हैं, इसका मतलब ये कि जो रेपिस्ट हैं उनको वो एनकरेज कर रही हैं, और उनके लीडर्स एनकरेज कर रहे हैं। जो लोग पब्लिक से दिन रात डील करते हैं, कम से कम उनको विमेन डिग्निटी का ध्यान रखना चाहिए। बड़ा अनफॉर्चुनेट पार्ट है कि ममता बनर्जी कोई रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करती।
Appreciate you joining us, Mamata Sharma, ex-NCW chief chairperson, giving us her perspective on why Mamata Banerjee just refuses to act when one after the other her various ministers come out and make appalling statements such as this by Dipak Haldar, TMC MLA. Indrajit is still with us on the phone line. He's been tracking all details. Indra, as usual, I'm quite sure that there would be no response coming in from the Mamata Banerjee government.
Well, we'll of course try and seek a response, a reaction from the Trinamool Congress. Not sure whether they would be forthcoming enough to speak about this, because if you look back at the Tapas Pal incident, an apology to the party was what they felt was enough. There was no public apology as far as Tapas Pal's episode was concerned, even though it was a public statement made in front of thousands of people that was being cheered by a lot of their supporters caught on tape. So, the Trinamool feels that apology to the party within the party's forum was good enough. We saw Mamata Banerjee herself claiming that this was what she could do at the max, and she could not go ahead and kill her own party MP. That was a statement by the chief minister. So coming from the supreme leader of the party, one can only expect that there's not much that the party intends to do as far as reining in its MLAs are concerned. So we'll have to wait and see what is going to be the response with this fresh episode. But, as far as the previous incidents are concerned, one can definitely read into the mind of the party as to how they are going to respond.
Stay on with us, Indrajit. We are getting in reactions from the left. We have Mohammad Salim from the CPIM joining us on the phone line. Mr. Salim, once again, one of the various MLAs of Mamata Banerjee's party coming out and making a completely unnecessary, downright crass comment on women. Mr. Salim, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mr. Salim, your first reactions on Dipak Haldar this time, who has come out and made a crass, insensitive statement saying that rapes will go on and Mamata Banerjee alone cannot stop anything.
It's a bizarre commitment. It's outrageous. It is nothing new. You can see that it's an unending serial, and this is the latest episode. The Trinamool Congress MP, ministers, MLAs, candidates for the election, they are all trying to justify rape because the Trinamool Congress is using rape as an instrument for political mobilization. So starting from Mamata Banerjee down to this Dipak Haldar MLA, in Bengal, they are promoting this, they are inciting this, and they are encouraging these lumpen elements. When Tapas Pal said that he will send his rapist gang to rape the CPIM women folks, so Mamata Banerjee never condemned it, not even censored it. And it's an outrageous. When the High Court ordered for an FIR and CID investigation, the government went to the High Court to have a stay. And police is not recognizing it because they think, you remember the Park Street incident when Mamata Banerjee said was in a denial mode and blaming the media and the opposition party, and the courageous lady officers who proved that it was a rape, Mamata Banerjee hunted her out. So now in the last 3 years, the kind of politics being pursued and the kind of apathy of the state machinery, particularly the police department, is creating a situation where it is havoc and rape is increasing like an epidemic. And when Dipak Haldar MLA is saying that, that means it's trying to create an atmosphere where rape will be acceptable to the society. But it is not acceptable to us in the civilized society. And in Bengal particularly, it is against the ethos and culture of Bengal. So people will be on the streets, the women folks will be on the streets, and will compel this government to act or prevent their forces. Otherwise, the conversion of Bengal into another land, which it was never.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Mr. Salim from the CPIM, giving us his perspective on the very latest. All right, let's cut across at this point of time to Mr. Barry O'Brien from the BJP. He's on the phone line with us. Mr. O'Brien, what do you make of this latest comment coming in by Mr. Haldar from the TMC?
Well, I don't know what to make of it because every day there is another MLA or another MP or another leader of the Trinamool Congress who shocks and beats the previous speaker. When it comes to rape, when it comes to making comments, I think whether the person is a doctor, people from all backgrounds, or an actor or a hardcore politician, I think they are reading the same book. They need to throw that book away. Otherwise, the people are not going to be forgiving them at all. In fact, I think it's gone too far now. And I think it's only a question of time because we people in Bengal, there is something called bhadrata. That's why they call all Bengalis bhadro looks. Bhadrata is how you speak, how you conduct yourself. It's very, very important. It's a combination of conduct and behavior and the words that you use and the manner in which you use it. It is very important throughout the country. But in Bengal, it is probably the most important thing. A viewer, a reader, a voter, a man on the street, he watches every single move and every single word that you're saying if you're a public figure. So I think they're doing a great favor to all the opposition parties. They're doing a great disfavor for themselves as well as for the people. And it's really something so shameful, and it's very sad. Every day we grow sadder and sadder. And
but do you reckon, Mr. O'Brien, that at this juncture it is not just these MLAs, it's time that the top brass of the TMC takes responsibility, because these are the men who are making these statements on public platforms?
Well, actually, the honest truth is that there was a phase which has just ended, and that phase was who can outdo the other to score brownie points with the big leader. So the more you insult others, the more you will go high up in the rankings. I think there's a ranking within that party where if you abuse somebody or if you say something that is really, really mean or something that is demeaning like this, you score brownie points and you go higher up in the party. However, having said that, I think they've realized that in the BJP, there is a real threat. Very soon in the by-elections which are happening a couple of weeks down the line, as then the other elections that are coming up next year and year after. So they are really worried about it. So I think they're planning to rein these people in, but it's only too late.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Mr. Berry O'Brien there from the BJP talking to us. I'd also like to cut across at this juncture to Dr. Kiran Bedi. She's also on the phone line with us. You know, Dr. Bedi, to go into rhetorics at why isn't the Mamata Banerjee government reacting is past now, because one case after the other, and we've seen that Mamata Banerjee has never really quite said anything but gone on to condone these incidents. Now, how is it that enough public pressure can be made on that government to at least take notice on what her MLAs are doing?
I wish the party had been briefed properly and the party members that these statements are not acceptable. The fact is, we've had rapes in the past. There are rapes in the present, but they have to be checked for the future, and not say that they will go on for the future, but they have to be checked. And what needs to be done to check the rapes as such crimes to be reoccurring, that's the job of all of us, including public representatives. I think that's where he's gone wrong. I wish the party does something drastic to educate its local representatives and the political parties as a whole, brief and retrain their public representatives that what can be said and what ought not to be said, but what must be said as people's representatives. They have to revive.
You know, but Ms. Bedi, the party hasn't really done anything, because every time now it's a rhetorical question whether or not Mamata Banerjee will react, because she's never reacted. Now, how does the public take charge of this? Because this kind of behavior cannot go on. These are men who are making these statements on public platforms. They are representing a party view, and the party goes on to condone these incidents.
Unfortunately, these are more of disciplinary issues within the political parties. There's nothing in the People's Representation Act that which you can do. So therefore, two things. A, the voters need to punish them when they come next, and they're not very far. Secondly is the political parties themselves. Now, what do the political parties do? They are independent for themselves. So it is only the voters. They have to wait and watch and punish them. And the next time they come for votes with hands folded, then tell them that you have given us no hope. You said that the rapes will continue, so we don't want to vote for you. So let people punish them as voters. You have no other choice. Unfortunately, this is the system we have today.
Appreciate you joining us, Dr. Kiran Bedi, giving us her perspective on how clearly in the state of West Bengal, these political leaders getting a free run, saying whatever they please, as they please, where they please, because they know that their party high command, especially Mamata Banerjee, is not going to do anything about this.